We were talking about this movie.
everybody's audio is working well because we're going into this technology.
Stand by. Rolling the open.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this historic mayoral debate. There's never been one like this, I believe, in the history of the city of Buffalo. My name is Al Waters. I'm a reporter for WNYmedia TV. And first, we want to lay the ground rules, and then we will do the introductions. First, we will allow the candidates to have 2-minute opening statements from left to right, starting with Mr. Colbert, then the mayor, and then Mr. Rodriguez. They will be allowed 1-minute closing statements in reverse order at the end of the debate. 2 minutes per answer, 30 seconds to rebut direct attacks. Questioners can follow up if they don't feel the question was answered to their satisfaction. First question to the first candidate, second question first to the second candidate. And we will also have questions submitted by you in the audience, and I believe we're also taking questions online, and we will work those into the mix. And our panelists of journalists do have questions that we have gone over that we will be using tonight. Now, for our introductions, first we will start with the panelists. To my far, to your far right is Harold McNeil from the Buffalo News. In the middle is Brittany Smallwood from WNYmedia TV. And next to Brittany is Eva Doyle from the Buffalo Criterion. Now from your left to right, we have Bernie Colbert, a Democratic candidate for mayor. In the middle, incumbent Mayor Byron Brown, and on the far right, Sergio Rodriguez, a Republican candidate. One more thing before we get started. As you know, we have standing room only tonight, and there is a overflow crowd. We apologize for any inconvenience. I believe by the time the night's over, everyone will appreciate how historic this event is and what you're going to learn from this. So first, we will start with the opening statements, beginning with Mr. Colbert.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to first thank the Buffalo Association of Black Journalists, the Buffalo News, and everyone concerned with putting this together. It's been said that it's an historic event, and I'm very proud to be a part of such a historic event. And I appreciate all the work and effort that's gone into putting this together. As you all know, my name is Bernie Colbert, and I'm running hard to be the next mayor of the city of Buffalo. And let me tell you why. For starters, I can do a better job than the current administration has done over the past 8 years.
That was one ground rule we missed. As you can tell on that. Sorry, Mr. Colbert, I'll get you back that time.
I'm not afraid to step out of the position and get involved with people. Not sit in an office behind security cameras and an armed guard. When I was a special agent in charge of the FBI, right here in Buffalo, I got involved with our community by establishing the FBI Citizens Academies. And as your mayor, I'll do the same thing by taking my office on the road every month, working in all of our neighborhoods, ensuring that I am keenly aware of the problems and concerns that keep all of our neighbors awake at night. And partnering together, we'll find solutions to those problems. Problems that many of us may be aware of, but only some of our residents are really living. I'm the only person running for mayor that has a law enforcement background and 40 years of proven executive leadership. I can't make all the problems in Buffalo go away overnight, but I assure you that there's nothing that I'm not willing to try to build a better Buffalo. Whether it's programs and initiatives that have been successful in other cities, or ideas from our citizens right here at home. My philosophy is, if it works, let's do it. Let's get it done. Thank you.
Mayor Brown.
I want to thank the Black journalists for hosting this mayoral forum and giving me the opportunity to talk about the progress we've made in Buffalo. When I became mayor, the city's finances were a mess. Taxes were high, our credit rating was low. We were under a hard control board. Employee wages were frozen. Commercial growth was stagnant. I made fixing our finances a priority. We cut residential property taxes over 15%, commercially by almost 28%, got the control board to go dormant, and lifted the wage freeze on our employees. As a result of our work, there is over $1.7 billion of economic development activity currently underway in Buffalo, the most we've seen in decades, which is creating real job opportunities for all of our citizens. We have strongly advocated for minority, female, and city worker goals in all city projects. I've created with the City Council 17,000 job opportunities for our youth to prepare them for the jobs that are coming in the future. At the same time, I've made public safety a priority. We've hired more police officers, installed surveillance cameras, and took illegal guns off the streets of our city. We've also funded groundbreaking educational initiatives like Say Yes to Education. Just yesterday, I announced a commitment of $400,000 to restore music programs to the Buffalo Public Schools. And since taking office, we've increased funding to our schools by over $13 million. My administration has laid a strong foundation for the future of Buffalo. Going forward, I will build on this progress and create even more opportunities for all residents of the city of Buffalo. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Mr. Whitney.
Yes, thank you. Well, I also would like to thank the Buffalo Association of Black Journalists, the Buffalo News, WNYmedia, for hosting this very important debate. It's an opportunity for voters out there to make an informed decision prior to voting for the next mayor of Buffalo. I'd like to start by saying, of course, my name is Sergio Rodriguez. I was born in the Dominican Republic to parents who only were able to obtain an 8th grade education in an impoverished nation. I was fortunate enough that they pursued the American dream, so we immigrated to the United States when I was 10 years old. They wanted a good education for me and my sister, and I was very fortunate to get that in the public school system. At the age of 18, when I graduated high school, I joined the United States Marine Corps. I earned my citizenship during that time. I served 5 years active duty, became a sergeant, and then moved to Buffalo. I came in pursuit of a college education. I also purchased a home in the city of Buffalo. I immediately got involved with the community in different organizations that serve senior citizens, that serve the military veterans community, and the youth. And through my involvement, I've discovered that there are issues in this city that have really not been addressed due to the lack of leadership, vision, and sense of urgency by the current administration. Now, I've worked in the private sector as an administrator at the Dyer College. I worked in the public sector as deputy director of the Union County Veterans Agency. And I've also volunteered my time in nonprofit organizations. What I would like to impress upon you is that throughout my time here in the city of Buffalo, I've worked with the community, and I have exhibited the ability to have the vision, the leadership, and the sense of urgency that we so desperately need to address the 4 major issues in the city of Buffalo, which is education, crime, unemployment, and poverty. So I thank you for hosting this very important event, Mr. Waters, and I look forward to talking with you and discovering exactly what my campaign is about.
Now for the first question from our panel, and the candidate will have 2 minutes to answer.
Good evening, everyone. I have heard all 3 candidates express concerns about the poor statistics on education in our city, especially the low graduation rates of black males. I have not heard one specific plan. They have all been general statements. I know that there are things that the leader of a city can do, so my question is, what can you do as mayor specifically to help improve the education of our students?
And under our ground rules, the first question goes to Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. That's a very good question because clearly education is first and foremost among the issues affecting our community. Education cuts through everything else that we do. It impacts on poverty, it impacts crime, it impacts quality of life. So we must do a good job in education. Just this evening, I will be rolling out a comprehensive plan that addresses the issues of education in our community and the things that I plan to do to have a positive impact on that. One of the things that I can tell you that I will be doing is I will be, as the mayor, I will appoint as a deputy mayor an individual who will be responsible for education and our children. That will be their sole responsibility to ensure that we're paying the proper attention to education and that we're ensuring that our children are headed in the right direction. One of the things that I've talked about over time is that the city gives $70 million to the Board of Education each year. In my estimation, for that $70 million, the mayor's office should have a seat at the table with the Board of Education, with teachers, with the union, ensuring that for our $70 million, we have a say in what's happening with our kids and providing some direction in that regard. I would also, as mayor, require that the Board of Education at least report on a quarterly basis what they're doing with the money that's going to the city, as opposed to giving it to them with no strings attached. I want to know how it's being used, what impact it's having on academics. Those are some of the things that I will do. And lastly, let me say that many times our parents cannot be involved in the process because our meetings at the Board of Education are downtown at City Hall. They're inaccessible in a very small room. I will push the Board of Education to have meetings in the community in each of the 6 districts, each of the 6 school districts. We spend a lot of money, $1 billion on the school renovation program. We've got great technology. We can have those meetings there, provide child care so that parents can get there, be involved, be a part of the process of making sure that we're doing everything we can to push our children to succeed.
We're all, as residents of this community, concerned about the low academic achievement and low graduation rates of children in the Buffalo public schools, particularly African American males. The reality, though, given the legal governing structure of the schools, the mayor does not have the ability to demand anything currently under the present configuration of the schools. I have sought to partner with the schools in every single way that we can and support them in every single way that we can. When I was first elected mayor of the city of Buffalo, one of the first things that I did budgetarily is increase the budget for the Buffalo public schools, increase Buffalo's contribution by $2 million. During my tenure as mayor, we have sent another $13 additional million to the Buffalo Public Schools to support their program. We have also made the hiring of our youth a priority. This year, in my budget, the city is spending the largest amount in its history on summer youth employment. And it's not just an employment program, it is a training program to prepare our young people for the future. I am in schools talking to parents and teachers all the time, to students all the time. I think it's important that we realize that in the last 25 years, there has only been one school district that did not have mayoral control or mayoral responsibility that got it, and that is the New York City Public Schools. No other school district that has sought that in New York State has received that permission. I think it's important for the mayor to work in collaboration and cooperation with the schools to try to support the schools in every way possible, and that is what I have done as mayor of the city of Buffalo.
Yes, you know what's interesting is when I made my announcement in February, I identified the education system as the single biggest issue facing the city of Buffalo. And by that, what we did is, at the beginning of May, we published a 12-point platform, very specific, mind you, on how to address this issue. I will be seeking mayoral control over the education system. This is a model that works in New York City and the city of Yonkers. In New York City, mayoral control has resulted in an increase of 19 percentage points in graduation rates. When they first started in 2002 with a 48% graduation rate. I seek accountability over the education system. We're graduating 47% of kids from high school. It's unacceptable. And it's not only African American males, 1 in 4 that graduate from this system, but also Hispanic males only graduating 1 in 4 as well. So minorities, what we're doing is essentially we're creating a direct-to-jail pipeline. So we're not graduating. We have to system. So we got to stop that. We have to seek accountability. We must implement a system that works, that takes into account the important role that truancy officers have in ensuring that kids are going to school, that takes into account that we don't need to suspend kids and send them home. We need to go with supervised in-school suspension. We need to expand vocational programs for our kids to have skill sets that are going to serve them well, whether or not they go to college, or even in some cases, if they're not fortunate enough to graduate from high school, they need something to fall back on. So we have to be aggressive. We have to seek control over the education system. The current system is simply not working for us, folks. It's not working. So let's try something new. And that is what I'm offering. I'm taking the education system very seriously. We've offered a platform on this issue, so let's make it happen.
Thank you. Our next question from the panel, and the first person with the answer is Mr. Brown.
As Mr. Rodriguez just mentioned, some cities, such as New York City, don't have a school board, and the schools are under the mayor's direct control. If you are elected mayor, would you attempt to disband the local school board, given the district's current difficulties?
I would not seek to disband the local school district. Board members have run for that office. They've been elected by the people of the city of Buffalo. We have a separately elected school board. What I have done is, in this budget, provided money for the hiring of attendance teachers and a truancy aide. One of the major issues that we have in the Buffalo Public Schools is chronic absenteeism. Not only in high school in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, in some schools as much as 30% chronically absent, but in pre-K, K, and 1 in some schools as much as 15% chronically absent. Our children can't learn under any governance structure if they're not in school, which is one of the reasons why we provided money in this year's budget to hire attendance teachers and a truancy aide to make sure that our children are in school so that they can learn. Another thing that we have funded, and I took the lead on in the city of Buffalo, that I think is going to be a game changer for our children is Say Yes to Education. Say Yes promises a college scholarship for every child that graduates from a Buffalo public and a Buffalo charter school. I was one of the first funders of Say Yes to Education, making a $500,000 commitment to the scholarship portion of that program and getting the Buffalo City Council to follow my lead. That is leadership. Now, that program also provides supports for children and their parents. And one of the first things that you will see in this school year under Say Yes to Education is an additional 2 hours of after-school programming to help get our children to the level where they can graduate from school and to improve and enhance their academic achievement.
Sure. Well, you know, I would have to say I don't quite agree with the premise that the mayor has taken leadership as it pertains to the Say Yes to Education program. I would like to address your question directly. As it stands, I would support a school board that is not necessarily working on a part-time basis. Right now, the only incentive that we provide school board members to prioritize this massive, complex, billion-dollar system is a $5,000 annual stipend, folks. This needs to be their #1 priority. We need to have school board members that are making informed decisions. This needs to be their full-time salary job. Certainly, if we have a council body of 9 members that oversee a significantly smaller budget, and they get a staff and they get paid full-time so they can make informed decisions, certainly makes sense that we support the school board members on that basis. So that's one of the things that we're going to do with that. Maybe, you know, when we look at the state of the education system, we have to realize that no one's seeking accountability over this system. There are school board members that do not want to hold themselves accountable. We have superintendents, we have principals, we have teachers, we have even parents that no one wants to take responsibility for this system. I'm seeking full accountability for this system, which is something that the current administration is not doing. They're not leading. They don't have the vision for the school system going forward, and they certainly don't have the sense of urgency required to move this city forward and take over the education system, which I will.
Thank you. Mr. Fuller.
Thank you. And throughout my professional career, I've always been willing to stand up and be held accountable. And I'll do the same thing with the school system. I've said in the past that we do need more accountability in our public school system. I've talked about, we have 9 school board members, 6 of which are elected in the districts, and 3 who are elected at large across the city. I've said that at a very minimum, the office of the mayor should have some input into that process. So I've pushed for that at the very least, the mayor be able to appoint 3 school board members to 3 at-large members. This would allow the mayor some direct input, some direct involvement, and some direct say in how our school system goes on. I've also said as an option,